The year is 2024. America is gearing up for another historic election. All eyes are on Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee. The world waits with bated breath. Who will be her running mate? The announcement drops. It's Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. The political landscape trembles. This is a bold move. Harris's campaign cites Walz's strong leadership. He's popular in the Midwest, a crucial region for the Democrats. They need to win back the heartland. Walz represents a bridge between the coast and the interior. His policies resonate with voters across the aisle. This choice signals Harris's commitment to unity. The news spreads like wildfire. Social media explodes. Pundits go into overdrive. Some praise the strategic brilliance, others express skepticism. The stakes are high. The 2024 election is shaping up to be one of the most consequential in history. The Harris-Walz ticket is a gamble, but a calculated one. It's a bid to unite a divided nation. The campaign trail awaits. Kamala Harris is known for her sharp intellect. She's a seasoned politician. Her choice of Tim Walz is no accident. It's a strategic masterstroke. Walz brings a lot to the table. He has executive experience as a governor. He has a deep understanding of rural America. He's a veteran, having served in the National Guard for 24 years. This resonates with a large segment of the electorate. Moreover, Walz is a moderate Democrat. He can appeal to independents and even some Republicans. This is crucial in a polarized political climate. Having Walz on the ticket could tip the scales in Harris's favor. This could be a game changer in the Electoral College. Tim Walz's story is the quintessential American story. He was born and raised in Nebraska. He comes from a working-class family. He understands the struggles of ordinary Americans. This authenticity resonates with voters. Walz's political journey began in education. He was a high school geography teacher for 20 years. He then served in Congress for 6 terms. He represented Minnesota's 1st congressional district. As governor, Walz has focused on issues like education, healthcare, and infrastructure. He's known for his bipartisan approach. This pragmatic approach is refreshing in today's political climate. Walz's down-to-earth demeanor is a stark contrast to the polished veneer of many politicians. This genuineness is a breath of fresh air. Before the suits and the political battles, Tim Walz was a teacher. He spent 2 decades in a classroom. He taught geography to high schoolers. He saw firsthand the challenges facing ordinary families. This experience shaped his worldview. It made him a passionate advocate for education. Walz believes everyone deserves a quality education, regardless of their zip code. He fought for increased funding for schools. He championed early childhood education. He worked tirelessly to close the achievement gap. For Walz, education is the great equalizer. As a teacher, Walz learned the importance of listening. He valued diverse perspectives. These qualities would later define his political career. Walz's entry into politics was unexpected. He never envisioned himself as a congressman, but he felt a call to serve. He believed he could make a difference. In 2006, he took the plunge. He ran for Congress in Minnesota's 1st district. It was a bold move. The 1st district is vast. It encompasses rural towns and sprawling farmland. It's a mix of Democrats, Republicans, and independents. Walz knew he had his work cut out for him. He embarked on a tireless campaign. He crisscrossed the district, meeting voters where they were. Walz's message resonated. He spoke about the issues that mattered to ordinary people: healthcare, education, jobs. He promised to be a voice for the voiceless. The election was close, but Walz emerged victorious. It was a stunning upset. Walz's time in Congress was marked by his bipartisan approach. He reached across the aisle. He worked with Republicans on issues like veterans affairs and agriculture. He believed in finding common ground. He wasn't afraid to stand up for his beliefs. But he did so with respect and civility. In 2018, Walz decided to run for governor of Minnesota. He felt he could do more for his state. He campaigned on a platform of progress and unity. He promised to invest in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. He pledged to create jobs and grow the economy. Walz faced a tough opponent, but he ran a strong campaign. He connected with voters across the political spectrum. He won the election by a comfortable margin. He became the 41st governor of Minnesota. As governor, Walz has faced numerous challenges. He's navigated the COVID-19 pandemic. he's addressed issues of racial justice and police brutality. Picking Tim Walz as her running mate, Kamala Harris sent a clear message: the Midwest matters. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture, it was a calculated move to shore up support in a region crucial to winning the presidency. The Midwest, once a Democratic stronghold, had drifted away in recent elections. The blue wall had crumbled. States like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania had flipped red. Harris knew she couldn't afford a repeat of 2016. She needed to win back the heartland. Walz, with his Midwestern roots and his common touch, was seen as the key. If successful, this strategy could pave the way for a decisive victory in the Electoral College. Tim Walz represented a rare breed in American politics, a bridge builder. In an era of hyper-partisanship, he stood out for his willingness to work across the aisle. This made him an attractive running mate for Kamala Harris, who was keen on projecting an image of unity and bipartisanship. Walz's ability to bridge divides stemmed from his upbringing in a working-class family in Nebraska. He understood the struggles of ordinary Americans, regardless of their political affiliation. His time in Congress had honed his skills as a negotiator. He had learned how to listen to opposing viewpoints and find areas of agreement. This pragmatic approach had earned him the respect of both Democrats and Republicans. Beyond his Midwestern appeal and his ability to bridge divides, Tim Walz brought a number of strengths to the Democratic ticket. These strengths went beyond his political experience and his policy positions. They were rooted in his character, his values, and his life story. First and foremost, Walz was a veteran. He had served in the Army National Guard for 24 years, rising to the rank of Command Sergeant Major. His military service gave him a deep understanding of the sacrifices made by those who serve in uniform. Second, Walz was a former teacher. He had spent 20 years teaching geography at Mankato West High School before entering politics. This experience had given him a passion for education and a deep commitment to ensuring that every child had the opportunity to succeed. Finally, Walz was a man of faith. These values resonated with many voters, particularly in the Midwest. While selecting Tim Walz as her running mate offered strategic advantages for Kamala Harris, it also came with inherent risks. One such risk was the danger of being perceived as overly reliant on a single region. While Walz's Midwestern roots were meant to be an asset, they could also be a liability if they made Harris appear out of touch with the concerns of other parts of the country. The United States often exhibited distinct regional identities and priorities. While Walz's appeal to Midwestern voters was undeniable, his ability to connect with voters in other regions remained an open question. The risk of regionalism was further compounded by the fact that Harris herself hailed from California. Another potential pitfall of choosing Walz was the risk of creating an echo chamber within the campaign. While his shared values and policy positions with Harris made him a comfortable and compatible running mate, they also raised concerns about a lack of diversity of thought and experience. Effective decision-making often benefited from a variety of perspectives. Surrounding oneself with individuals who held similar views could lead to groupthink. In the high-stakes arena of presidential politics, charisma and the ability to inspire voters often played a decisive role. While experience, competence, and a strong policy platform were essential, they sometimes paled in comparison to the intangible quality of excitement that a candidate could generate. This raised questions about whether Tim Walz, despite his many strengths, possessed the charisma and star power to energize the Democratic base and attract independent voters. Known for his down-to-earth demeanor and his focus on policy details, Walz projected an image of a steady and experienced leader. The challenge for the Harris-Walz campaign would be to strike a balance between highlighting Walz's experience and competence while also showcasing his personality. They would need to craft a narrative that presented Walz not just as a capable administrator but as a visionary leader. The news cycle went into overdrive, cable news channels buzzed with endless commentary, newspapers scrambled to publish in-depth profiles, social media exploded with a mixture of praise, skepticism, and outright mockery. The announcement of Tim Walz as Kamala Harris's running mate had ignited a media frenzy. Pundits dissected every angle of the decision, scrutinizing Walz's record and speculating about his appeal. The reaction from political commentators was predictably divided along partisan lines. Liberal pundits hailed the choice of Walz as a stroke of genius, praising his Midwestern appeal and his bipartisan credentials. Conservative commentators dismissed Walz as an uninspiring choice, a safe pick who lacked the star power to excite the Democratic base. They questioned his ability to connect with voters outside of his Midwestern base. Amidst the partisan bickering, some independent analysts offered more nuanced perspectives. The diversity of opinions reflected the complexity of the decision and the uncertainty surrounding its impact on the election. The Republican Party and its nominee wasted no time in attacking the Harris-Walz ticket. They sought to paint Walz as a far-left radical, out of touch with the values of mainstream America. They highlighted his support for progressive policies, such as universal health care and stricter gun control, and attempted to tie him to the more liberal wing of the Democratic Party. Republican strategists saw an opportunity to exploit regional divisions, portraying Walz as a product of the coastal elite and highlighting his differences with voters in more conservative parts of the country. They also sought to undermine his bipartisan credentials, pointing to instances where he had sided with Democrats on controversial issues. The Republican attacks were relentless, seeking to define Walz in the minds of voters before he had a chance to introduce himself and his vision for the country. They aimed to sow doubt and division, hoping to erode support for the Harris-Walz ticket and create an opening for their own candidate. Section 4. Public Perception: A Divided Nation. The public's reaction to Tim Walz's selection mirrored the nation's deep political divisions. Supporters of Harris and the Democratic Party were enthusiastic, seeing Walz as a strong addition. Conversely, Republicans voiced skepticism, criticizing Walz's policies. They saw his selection as evidence of Harris's supposed radical agenda. Among independents, reactions were mixed. Some were intrigued by Walz's background, others remained unconvinced. The announcement highlighted the nation's profound ideological differences. Section 1. A Gamble for Unity. Kamala Harris's selection of Tim Walz as her running mate was a bold gamble, a calculated risk aimed at healing a fractured nation. It was a move that defied conventional political wisdom, eschewing the familiar faces of Washington insiders and the rising stars of the progressive movement in favor of a pragmatic Midwesterner with a reputation for bipartisanship. The decision reflected Harris's recognition of the deep divisions that plagued American society and her determination to bridge the chasm between the coasts and the heartland. It signaled a commitment to moving beyond the partisan rancor that had come to define American politics and to finding common ground on the issues that mattered most to ordinary Americans. Whether this gamble would pay off remained to be seen. The challenges facing the Harris-Walz ticket were formidable. They would need to overcome the skepticism of those who doubted Walz's national appeal and the relentless attacks of their political opponents. They would need to convince a weary electorate that their message of unity and hope was more than just campaign rhetoric. Section 2. The Long Road Ahead. The Harris-Walz ticket marked the start of a long journey across the country, from bustling cities to quiet towns. They faced questions from voters eager to hear their plans. The media scrutinized their every word and gesture. The campaign trail tested their resilience and commitment. They navigated identity politics, appealing to a diverse electorate. They needed a clear message that resonated with all voters. Every stop was a chance to connect and earn trust. The road ahead was long, but the stakes were too high to turn back. The future of the nation hung in the balance. Section 3. The Verdict of History. The Harris-Walz ticket would forever be remembered as a bold experiment, a testament to unity and reconciliation. Whether they healed the nation's divisions or succumbed to polarization, their campaign left an indelible mark. The verdict of history would depend on many factors, some within their control, others not. The state of the economy, world events, and their opponents' strategies would shape the election's outcome. Ultimately, their success hinged on convincing the American people of their vision for a united future. Only time would tell if Harris's gamble would pay off. Would her choice of a Midwesterner as running mate be genius or a miscalculation? The legacy of the Harris Waltz ticket would be written in the pages of history.